We'll begin with a roll call of officers. I'm your President, Ray Brown. I'm here. Vice President Whit Norris.
I'm here.
General Secretary Treasurer Frank Hatcher.
Here.
Director of Membership Kevin Amick is here. Sergeant at Arms Kathleen Tonkin.
Here.
Delegate to the Georgia Labor Council Myra Foy.
Here.
Delegate to the AFL-CIO Kevin Cheatham.
Present.
And Mike Akins will join us when he joins us. Right now, he is not present. Also on the call today, hardly a guest, but obviously worthy of introduction, is our legal counsel, Bob Giolito. Thank you for joining us today, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President.
There are no additional guests. I would like to take this opportunity to observe a moment of silence for our fallen and hurting members. Thank you. Moving forward, brothers and sisters, this would be the opportunity to obligate new members. Obviously, we're not doing that. We've put a moratorium on any new members. I will state for the record, Mike Akins is here, has joined us, so we have a full house in terms of the executive board. You should have received, everyone should have received the minutes from the previous meeting, which were approved in the executive board meeting held earlier today at noon. This will move us, because there's going to be an opportunity for a sort of a town hall opportunity here later to answer some of the questions that members have sent in. I will save any further comment in terms of the president's report and the state of the local, and we'll get right into the meat and the potatoes of today's town hall. In this case, then, I will turn this over to General Secretary Treasurer Frank Hatcher for his report on the finances and the state of the local.
Thank you, President Brown. The financials for July 31st are posted online in the website. Certainly opportunities there for anybody that needs to see them in detail. Let me just say that it is no surprise to anyone that our revenues are virtually non-existent. Again, our net revenue through the end of July is significantly below what we anticipated in the budget. That's no surprise either. That will continue until we get roared back up and going again. We are starting to see some revenue from productions that are in progress. I'm sure that will ramp up very quickly, and I know that there's a report on business coming back to life a little bit later. The good news in all our financials today is that we still have over $11 million in liquid assets that are available to the local to run this business, and it is a business. It's available for the local to run, and it's available to assist membership, which we are doing in a lot of different ways. So that's the good news, and I will answer any questions that the board might have about the financials.
Thank you, Brother Hatcher. I'll open it up to the board at this time for any questions for Brother Hatcher in reference to the financials stated. There was some discussion in the executive board meeting. There being none, we'll move on. Brother, does that conclude your report? I'll give you the last word, Brother Hatcher.
That's my report.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, brother, very much. Okay, that moves us to the business agent's report. Brother Mike Akins.
Sorry for coming in late, but I couldn't get off the beach. The outlook for the local for upcoming work is way better than it has been in the past. The industry is still struggling to come up with a safe way forward protocol that fits every production. The IA continues to negotiate with the AMPTP to work through these guidelines. They hope, and I've been saying this for quite a time now that we would have some progress and reach an agreement to move forward. And I think we're getting closer. Each meeting shows signs. It's very strenuous to deal with at this time because there is so many variables and it changes hourly at best. So bear with us. I believe that the safe way forward is going to happen. I believe that there will be an agreement soon, and which will answer a lot of the questions that we're going to talk about today. Several productions have geared up to date right now, I believe, and this number may catch a lot of us off guard, but close to 30 projects in the state right now in some form or fashion, a lot of pre-production. And when I say pre-production, I'm also referring to those productions getting the COVID policies and protocols in place, putting the war stations, the PPE stations, and putting the protocol all in place. And those right now are being done and negotiated on an individual basis. So it's quite busy with 30 some odd projects kicking around the state. It looks like they're going to get back to work pretty quickly. I would suspect that right now we're looking at 20 to 25% of the membership working, and by the end of September, I can see 50 to 55, maybe 60% of that by the end of September. On the protocol, the questions that we're getting, folks, is, am I getting paid for the testing? Am I getting paid to quarantine myself? What's the obligation from the company as far as providing the PPE and the protocols? Well, 479 and the IA are working to try to get the employers to agree, at least to have a consistent basis across the board. However, right now, 479 is basically negotiating that you get paid 4 hours for a test only day when you do not work. If you're being tested and you have to go to a COVID training or take some other classes and it exceeds the 4 hours, then it would be an 8-hour day. And we're instructing our members to put that on their time card. Some productions are agreeing to pay it, some are not, but we're putting it on our time card anyway, folks, because right now, if the employer is calling you to go to work or have you go get tested, we are claiming it is a minimum of 4 hours a day. If you're asked to quarantine yourself after being an employee or after a test, things like that, then if you're being requested by the employer to quarantine, then you should be paid the 8 hours of the minimum call of the CBA. Some productions are paying it, some are not. Again, we are in negotiations with each one of these on an individual basis. So be careful about the words and the interpretations that are used, because some companies are telling you to go get a test and then go home and wait to get the results. Well, they're not telling you you can't take another job at that point. They're basically saying, we want you to go get tested, stay home, be responsible, but we're not asking you to quarantine yourself or not take other work. So be careful about how that's interpreted. But if the employer is telling you to go home, quarantine, you can't take jobs, then we are taking the position that you're entitled to an 8-hour day. The other position is from the testing protocols. Testing protocols are varying between 3 times a week, 2 times a week, or once a week to not at all. 479 is of the position that you should be tested at least once a week, regardless of what zone that you're in. So at least once a week is where we're holding right now. Again, the IA, Matt Loeb, Mike Miller, are negotiating directly with the AMPTP, and we hope to have, optimistically, have some kind of resolution by the end of this next week. That's very optimistic, again. On a note as far as going to work and the company sequestering the crew, Tyler Perry has been very successful in sequestering his crew. He sequesters about 360 people for a 10 to 14 day period while he films. To date, I'm only aware of 2 positive once the quarantine started. He's been very successful in keeping the virus out of his quarantine bubble. Other shows are attempting to do the same thing. And under the sequestering, the unions are negotiating those conditions because there is nothing in our CBA that addresses a sequestered type situation where the employer is obligating the employee to reside in a hotel or provided accommodations for an extended amount of time, i.e. they are not allowed to go home at the end of the day. They're not allowed to go home on a 6th or a 7th day until the end of production. Those negotiations are handled on a case-by-case basis with the particular show. So if you have been offered a job and they are talking about sequestering you for a period of time, then the union would negotiate those conditions for a sequestered type scenario. Again, if you can let the union know that you've been offered these jobs, call in your work so that we can get these protocols in place before you start work, get the conditions of sequestering negotiated before you have to make the decision whether to stay or accept the job. Now I would like to move forward with a note also. At this time, because of the pandemic, there's a certain amount of responsibility that each of us have to be responsible. We can accept a job and the employer's doing a very good job of identifying the means of which to protect us and make us safe. From ventilation to PPE, to social distancing, to creating zones, to creating sequestered crews to eliminate the exposure or mitigate the exposure to the virus. We have a responsibility ourselves to do the same thing because we can go to work 5 days a week, and on Saturdays or Sundays that we step out and we go to a bar or go to an event or things like that. And that's your choice. And we understand that. However, if by chance you were to contract the virus at an event like that, it's going to affect your brothers and sisters, because if it's brought back into the workplace, the last thing we need right now is for the industry as a whole to be shut down again. The purpose of the zones is to eliminate having to shut down the entire production, so that if you're in a zone and you do contract the virus, then it'll eliminate a small portion of the production. But folks, please, at this time till things figure another way out, please be vigilant about protecting yourself. Do the social distancing, wear the mask, protect us, your brothers and sisters, by not exposing or taking undue risk. And that's a responsibility that we all have, because if we get into a situation where this thing ramps up again, the industry would be very difficult to come back again if we end up going into another shutdown. So please be vigilant for yourself, protect you and your families. Please stay safe out there. And if you get a call to go to work, you're unclear about the protocols, give the office a call. Both the field reps are in the office, and we'll be glad to answer all your questions and make sure that you have the information necessary to make your decisions. President Brown, that's my report.
Thank you, Brother Akins. I just want to add to your excellent report, and especially your informing us on the protocols that are going to be headed our way, and the social distancing and the personal responsibility. So I am, as most know, I'm a working technician in the business. I'm getting ready to start my Netflix show that was shut down. And I have subsequently been to training, COVID training, and had a number of talks with the COVID czars from Disney and Netflix. And Brother Akins, just to add to your report, I want to caution our membership about social distancing and doing the right things on the weekends. Now, when you post a picture of yourself on a pontoon boat with 20 other people 6 inches away from each other, and your employer sees this, and you test positive for COVID, and you come to work and you infect other people, and a quick check of your social media page shows that you've been attending bars and concerts and you're posting this stuff all over line, you are putting yourself at risk of being dismissed from this show. And I want to caution you all about this. Please be responsible in every aspect of this. Be socially responsible. Be responsible when you step out of your home. Our jobs depend on this. Georgia is in a really tricky place right now. We can do better. I'll leave it at that. We must do better. As we're slowly getting back to work, we have to abide by these guidelines and these protocols that are set forth. We will abide by them. It is your personal choice to not accept the position. It is not your personal choice to not wear the PPE unless you have a legitimate written reason from your medical professional, and that will be between you and the production company that hires you. Not even the union gets involved in that. So thank you. I can be a little long-winded. I'm trying to drive a point home. I hope I did so. Mike, thanks for your report, and we'll move on.
I have one point to add right quick, that what President Brown said is absolutely correct. The employer is putting these policies in place. They are a condition of employment. If you do not follow them, they can and will terminate you for the safety of the production. It's already happened a couple of times where people refused to wear the PPE and they were asked to leave. So please, let's protect our brothers and sisters. Let's protect ourselves. Wear the mask, adhere to the PPE.
Thank you, brother. You got the last word there. That moves us to Brother Amick with our report on education.
Thank you, Mr. President. We're continuing to use the e-learning platform for education and training. Again, it's a temporary means to offer courses. We hope that the process to start back in person happens soon, but we'll be implementing new training guidelines to ensure that everyone stays safe in the process. Again, all this is a process, and please be patient as we continue to work through it. We're working with other local training directors to offer a different online courses. If we happen to send out an email for these courses, I would ask that all members just follow through the process that's mentioned in the email for registration and attending these courses. We've completed 10 OSHA 10 online courses with a total of 169 people in attendance, with combined training hours of all attendees, right about 1,986 hours of combined training, which is pretty significant. I appreciate everyone who's attended those OSHA 10s and look forward over the next 2 weeks to see others join us. ASA applications continue to come in. This is for the A2, and then the harassment prevention classes. Our members make up 41% of the total applications received for these courses. Just as a reminder, if you've made an application, please follow through with the registration, and please follow through with the whole process of completing the courses. If you've already completed them, thank you very much. We appreciate your time that you put into it. In total, 48% of our local members have made application. 48%. We're close to 50, but we're still a good ways from 100%. I would like to encourage everyone to take this time, turn in the application, register for these courses, and get them completed. There's a lot of safety talk going on, and I think it would behoove everyone to have these courses completed and out of the way before you return back to work. Just recently, we sent an email that the Training Trust Fund has released COVID-19. It's a recommended guideline for preventing exposure in the workplace. This is available. We've had over 4,000 applications from all the international that has turned in for these classes. I would encourage everyone to, if you haven't, just reach out to our training email. That's training@IATSE479.org. And we can send links to enroll into any of these courses and get you logged in so you can get those completed. They're all online. They can be taken at your own convenience, 5-10 minutes at a time. Just make sure you save it when you log out. Continue to look for updated courses on the calendar as we put them up. Again, right now, until we notify otherwise, we are online, and we really hope to start offering some in-person classes soon. Mr. President, this does conclude my report.
Thank you, Brother Amick. I just want to stress to our members in reference to education that the AA2 and sexual harassment training is training that will be required at some point by you. We're not sure when. We've already had shows requesting that all their crew members have their cards, this certified training. To hear that almost 50% of our membership has taken this or at least signed up for it, Brother Amick, is a terrific number. That's a terrific number. Clearly, we have some work to do. Why not set the bar higher? We will. We'll continue to remind our members about this training. Folks, I've taken it. I've also taken Brother Amick's OSHA 10 class online, which was fantastic, interactive, and wonderfully done by Brother Amick. So kudos to you in the training department for not missing a beat and keeping us going during this tenuous time. Again, the training is worthwhile. It's necessary. And number 3, at some point it will be required. Please don't be that person like I was years ago trying to finish my local aid training before I could get a job. Go ahead and get it done now while we have a little more time here to do this. As Brother Akins said, come September, and I want to clarify his numbers. Brother Akins mentioned by September or October, certainly towards the end of this year, we'll be ramped up to about 50-60% of our membership working. That represents, in the high 20s in numbers of shows. And quite frankly, that's pretty close to the typical number of our members working anyway. So if we can achieve 60-65% by that time, which is very likely, that number represents us under normal circumstances, which is terrific news. That word we don't get to hear much anymore. But if we can ramp up, we're already at 20-something shows. We add another 5 or 6 shows, and we're right where we are when we're coasting along. Not super busy, not super slow, right? At our busiest, I think we're up around 40-something shows. So to be up in the high 20s is wonderful. That's terrific news, and it's certainly a bright spot at the end of our day. Again, I digress. Thank you, Kevin, for a wonderful report. That moves us to the AFL-CIO delegate report, Brother Cheatham.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this current time, I have no report for the AFL-CIO. I'll yield to my time to Myra and her information.
Thank you, brother. That moves us then to Sister Foy, who is our delegate to the Georgia Central Labor Council.
Thank you. Just a quick reminder to please fill out the census. The deadline has been moved up to September 3rd. So please, just a friendly reminder that what you do in 10 minutes will affect you for the next 10 years. The Atlanta North Georgia Labor Council, in partnership with Fulton County, received a grant through Fulton County that provides financial assistance to union members in need. It's a COVID-19 relief assistance form that you would need to fill out. You do need to be a Fulton County resident. That is a requirement because the monies are coming from Fulton County. This information will be put out probably within the next day or so. So if you are behind in any type of bill and need some sort of financial assistance, I would encourage you to look at that. You must also be a union member, and your membership status is also going to be verified. So just please take advantage of that. It will be a first come, first served basis. And that concludes my report.
Well, thank you, Sister Foy. And if you all need more information on the information that Sister Foy just gave out in reference to this relief opportunity, please reach out to her via her email at on the executive board. That moves us now to our committee reports. As most of you know, we have suspended most committee activity. I'll just, I'll just go down the list here. Well, I'll actually start with Whit Norris, because the hardship committee, in fact, has not been disbanded. It's very active. And Brother Norris, Vice President Norris, I'd like for you to give the report on where we are with that right now.
Thanks, President Brown. Good afternoon, everyone. Since our last meeting, we've assisted 3 members financially. One was going through surgery. We had another one that was dealing with the injury, and another member that was fighting cancer. And currently, the hardship committee is looking at 3 other members, and it's almost the same thing. There was an injury, another member had surgery, and another member has an ongoing battle with cancer that we're assisting. And I encourage everyone to hang in there. I know we're going through some tough times, and all of us pretty much everyone has been on unemployment. We're all dealing with this. And the locals here to help and to support you, but hang in there. We're all going back to work shortly. And I know it's been tough on a lot of people and their finances, and I've spoken with several members over the last couple of weeks. Right now, the scholarship committee has nothing to report. Thank you, President Brown.
Vice President Norris, thank you. And I know you work tirelessly with that committee. We talk often. And I just want to say thank you for all your great ideas. You've really been putting out some, you've really come up with some great creative ways to answer some members' needs, and I appreciate that. And thank you for involving me in some of the things you've involved me in. Please don't stop grinding on that fight, my brother. Thank you. We have suspended activity with the young workers, the women's committee, and our pride committee for this year. However, I will yield time to Brother Cheatham or Sister Foy if you want to say anything on behalf of your committees at this time.
Yes, sir. For the Young Workers Committee, I haven't reached out or responded to a few emails for those who want to be part of our Basecamp app. So you can get information. That's where our main hub is to get all the information to all the young workers who want to be a part of the committee. Just any updates that we have, any information we like to pass along to help those out. That's where you can find it. And so if you're not a part of that and you'd like to be, shoot me an email. It's either on the website, or if I can remember off the top of my head, kcheatham@IATSE479.org. And just email me that and we'll get you set up. Mr. President, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate Cheatham. Sister Foy?
I have nothing at this time, Mr. President.
Thank you, Chairperson Foy. That moves us to our Political Action Committee. I'll let Brother Akins lead us off there.
As everyone knows, we are in a political season. The election's coming up in a little over 80 days, and it is very important to pay attention to the political atmosphere that's out there and pay attention and educate yourself on the issues. As far as individual candidates and things like that, as we have always done, we're going to support the candidates that have supported our industry and supported our entertainment brothers and sisters. And I would encourage you to go out and on the education front. Now, the first and most important part of your voice being heard is voting. And I want to encourage everybody out there to go vote. It's important. It's the way you make your voices heard. And it is a right that you have as an American citizen to go vote. In order to go vote, though, you have to be registered. And that I would like to compliment the local on, because to date, over 90% to 95% of our membership is registered to vote. We do the numbers. We work with the Political Action Committee with the International to make sure that our members are registered. So to date, with those numbers last week, 95% of our membership is registered to vote, and I would encourage you to go out and make your voices heard. The voting on November 3rd is getting a lot of questions over. There are 3 ways to vote this year. You may vote in person, you may early vote, or you may do an absentee ballot. The employer is obligated to allow you the time to go vote. However, don't put yourself behind the 8 ball there by having a 9 o'clock call and think that the employer is going to give you time off for you to go vote that day, because the polls were open at 7. You had time to go vote then. If he gives you off before 7 p.m. that night, then the employer has allowed you the time to go vote. The opportunity to vote early is out there. The absentee ballots are out there, and you can claim those up to October 30th. And we have one show that's going to be in this ballpark where they are going to be quarantined or sequestered during November 3rd. Those individuals or that crew is going to have to use the opportunities presented to them early, either early voting or to do a absentee ballot. If you're concerned over the absentee ballots and the mailing, there's lots of suggestions out there to do that, where you can request an absentee ballot and then drop that ballot off at a predetermined place. So again, kudos to 479 for having over a 90% registration rate, and kudos for us for getting the word out and being able to go vote. Please take advantage of the opportunities. Again, there's 3 ways to do it. Please get out and vote. Mr. President, I'll defer to you.
Thank you, Mike. I mean, you touched a lot of bases there. Listen, activism is one of the 4 pillars of success at the IATSE. The activism covers a lot of bases, right? But in this particular season, political activism is going to be key. Now, we would never suggest that you go out, or we would never suggest that we would interfere with your personal rights to vote in the manner in which you choose to vote. What we are doing, though, is we're encouraging you and we're pushing you all to actually vote, to go out and vote your conscience, vote your heart, vote your research. We're also asking you to make sure that you're registered to vote. We did have some circumstances where members stood in line for 6 hours only to find out when they got to the end of the line that they had been purged from the voter list. Don't fall victim to that. You have time right now. It's an easy thing to do to check to make sure you're registered. Heck, if all else fails, call the hall and we'll help you check, right? It's that important to us. Anyway, my great report, I just wanted to reiterate the importance of voting, the importance of getting out there and being active in the political climate and making sure that your voice is heard. Now is the time, and make it happen, brothers and sisters and kin, make it happen. All right, that moves us to our Board of Trustees report. There is none at this time. Clearly, we're not voting in any new members. We don't have any unfinished business. That brings us to, quote, new business, which we really don't have, but this will be our opportunity to answer some of the mail that we received from you in reference to the town hall portion of this.
President Brown, may I interrupt?
Yes, please.
Under the new business side of things, our October meeting, the nominations, and the fact that we're going to hold that at a new event or a new site, I think we should let the membership know at this point.
100%. Well, that was on my new business or my town hall portion, so we can dive right into that right now. You want to tackle that now?
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
go ahead.
The October meeting is going to be at the Georgia International Congress Center, located on Camp Creek Parkway. That date is October the 18th, and that'll be our first in-person meeting since February. And the nominations will be there for officers at that time also, sir.
Yeah, and let me clarify a couple points on that. So the reason we're moving this meeting to that large space is because this is, as Brother Aiken said, will be our nominations for the office of president, the office of director of membership, and the 5 trustees. Once again, this October, our nominations for the office of president of our local, the membership director of our local, and the 5 trustees are all voted by members, okay? So those 7 nominations will be this October. We must do this in person. So our hall is not big enough to accommodate the typical amount of folks that show up during these nominations, which can be anywhere from 100 to 150 people. So we're doing it at this larger convention center so we can properly social distance. You will be expected to wear PPE at this meeting. You will not enter this meeting without face coverings, approved face coverings, and we will provide those at the door for those of you who do not have them. But just want to make you aware, we will follow the CDC guidelines in full. We'll have hand washing stations. You will be provided masks as you enter. And we will take care of some unfinished business that we need to ratify also at this meeting. So October's a pretty busy meeting. Fully understand if you are not comfortable doing something like this at this time, but many of you have reached out to us and are comfortable at doing this, and we must actually proceed with an in-person meeting. That would be the best way to handle this election. And again, this is at the conference center right down by the airport. This is not the GWCC downtown. This is the one that's out by the airport. So it'll be, I've been to that convention center before. Parking is easy to get to and easy access into the building. So it really is a great choice. Mike, did I miss anything in reference to that? You're muted, Mike.
I believe that gets the October meeting, sir.
Okay. Of course, we will send out multiple emails in reference to this to remind you of the PPE guidelines and the change of venue and the times and all this. The executive board will meet that day also. If you wish to attend the executive board meeting, accommodations for you, proper social distancing accommodations will be made for that as well. Well, that's a great segue into our conversation about PPE, Mike. I did receive correspondence from a member, and the question was basically this. If I'm on a show and I see a crew member not following the proper PPE guidelines or have otherwise doffed their PPE when they shouldn't have, what is the union going to do about this? Okay, there's some quick and easy answers here, and then I'm going to turn it over to Brother Aikens to expand upon the quick and easy answers. Okay, right now, all of us are required to follow the protocols of the productions that we are hired on, follow their specific protocols for PPE, zoning, wristbanding, etc. In general terms, and Brother Giolito, you can dive in if I exceed the legalities of things here. But in general terms, you are required by production to wear your PPE. If you decide unilaterally that you don't want to wear a face mask anymore, and production calls you out on this, please understand that this isn't a phone call you can make to the hall and have us come to your defense. Again, unless you have adequate medical reasons backed by documentation that you have submitted to production, in which case I can assure you they're going to reassign you to an area that won't be anywhere near an actor. But this is the only way around this. So to answer the question briefly, if someone on your crew is doffing their PPE in a zone where they should have this on, the protocol would be to go immediately to the AD or the person in charge, your department head, the supervisor in charge, your foreman, your AD, your UPM, and make them aware of this. This is an employee-employer relationship. Now, if you get on a show, let's say for the sake of this conversation, it's an independent, low budget, union production. And you come in one day and all of a sudden there's 30 people on set with the actors and there isn't a face shield or a face mask between here and the next block, then absolutely we expect you to call the hall immediately. There has been a significant breakdown in communications and or protocol. In this case, you would call your representative, be it Brother Akins or one of your field reps, and let them know immediately that the protocols for PPE have completely broken down on your set. This is something our business representative needs to know about and needs to know about in a hurry. Other than that, on a case-by-case basis, these folks need to be reported to the supervisor. Supervisor reports it to the UPM, and it is handled as an employee-employer relationship. But let me assure you that if you want to make a personal statement by not wearing your PPE, the likelihood of this not ending well for you is high. Brother Akins, I pass this to you.
The other point that needs to be made here is that there is most likely on the major productions a COVID officer or a health and safety officer or a department that has been appointed by the production company. There are anonymous calls. You can do this anonymously. You can go to your steward on the show. You can do this anonymously through the hotlines. You could go directly to your COVID officer. This is all out there to be a protection for you, your brothers and sisters, and a bigger issue here, even for the industry. Because if this works, then we get to go back to work. If it doesn't work, we're going back home, folks, because it's that serious. So please adhere to the guidelines. They're there for your safety, for your brothers and sisters' safety, and for the industry safety as a whole, to make sure that we can continue to work in this business. Thanks, sir.
Mike, thank you again for your help on that. I know you've been fielding a lot of phone calls, and I know you've been talking to a lot of studios and producers, and I know you'll keep us up to speed as things unfold or things change. And brothers and sisters, kin, I do want to remind you that these protocols that are put in, this is not the new normal. These are responses to the COVID situation and the pandemic. When we, and hopefully sooner than later, but when we get past this, whether vaccines or whatever comes our way to help us get through this, then these protocols also go away. So this is not the new normal. This is simply the new now, okay? Everybody wants these to go away, but our reality is these are put into place for our safety as best as we know how to move forward. Okay. Moving on to other pieces of correspondence we received. I did receive a piece of correspondence from a member in reference to unemployment insurance claims and how the local was helping there. Most of you in the know, or certainly those of you who attend our meetings, know that we have been knee deep in the UI issues since March 13th. I commend our business representative, Mike Akins, who is literally, if we were back in that time, led the charge, sword in hand, and led the charge full on with the Department of Labor. I commend a couple of our members. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Glenn Pizon, Kaz Walding, just stellar work by both of these members, things they've done on their own. Mike, Kaz, Glenn, they've been working together, they've been talking, they've been using each other's contacts. I do not know where Kaz and Glenn stand right now in terms of whether or not they're still available to help. I know Glenn has gone back to a show, but anyway, neither here nor there. Kudos to these members. Well respected, both of them, and well liked by many, both of them. And thank you all. And again, Mike, there the whole time. And Mike, I know you're still helping members and you're still dealing with some issues, but I know we cleaned up a whole lot of stuff. I'd like for you to expand upon that briefly, if you would, on where we stand now.
Pretty much, we are down to the individual issues. At the very beginning, Glenn and Kaz were handling individual issues and had individual contacts that they were able to help individuals with, while the local dealt with majority of issues that affected more than just one or two individuals. At this point, we're down to now helping individuals for whatever reason they have stopped getting their unemployment. They are several months behind in getting in. They can't figure things out. And in most cases, it's a communication issue between the Department of Labor and the individual. The individual may have answered a question wrong. They may not have sent in a documentation of their union membership. There's one or two of these things that are very difficult and require an individual at the Department of Labor to assess each individual account. We are down to sending those individual accounts and individual names over to the Department of Labor to get them to FIS. We categorize them in what we suspect is the issue. And here about a week and a half ago, we sent in something like 80, and over the weekend, 40 of them were fixed. We're starting to see a little bit more of that. The numbers are dropping, but there's still some issues out there, and we'll still continue to take this all the way through this. The Department of Labor has made a commitment to getting things right, and if you're entitled to unemployment, you will get it eventually. They're overwhelmed, they're overworked, and they're still working from home. So please reach out to the office. We'll be glad to look at your account, work through that, and try to help resolve the issues with the Department of Labor as we go forward.
Well, Mike, and again, a personal thank you. It's no secret I have two daughters who are also members of this local and who are working members of the local. And one of the two was caught up in that issue. And that batch of 50 to 80 that you said that you were able to clean up, well, she was in that too. And I know that you were able to, and members don't know this, and nor should they, be exposed to this kind of thing, but they should know that you were on the phone with the payroll companies out in Los Angeles. You were on the phone with the studios out in Los Angeles. And this was a tireless effort until we got these things resolved. And I know what you do, of course, but our members don't always know what you do. And I just want to say thank you for personally, again, for helping out one of my daughters personally in that batch of 50 to 80. And also just thank you for everything you've done with the members during this time. In nowhere in our Constitution does any of this fall under the duties or responsibilities of the business agent. You did this on your own, and I thank you.
I cannot accept that because this office staff was a big part of that. The office manager, the controller, to the applications people, all of them, and Kaz and Glenn were a big part of that whole big effort. It was a lot of people involved in this, not just me, and I want to give them the kudos for stepping up and answering these emails. Couldn't have done it alone.
Well, thank you. And that was my short-sightedness. I know all these people engaged, and thank you for clarifying that. Well, quite frankly, that actually addresses the questions that some of our membership sent me. I would like to take this opportunity to yield to my fellow board members to see if anyone would like to add anything to our sort of not so formal town hall here. I would open it up to the board at this time. Anything you would like to remind our members of or encourage our members at this time? Oh, I should mention, coming up on, Sister Foy, will you help me out here? Coming up on the 29th, we have a food drive. Would you mind telling us a little bit about that? We are going to be sending some volunteers. I know Brother Norris, Vice President Norris, has some volunteers in the sound department that are coming out. We have some young workers that might be coming out. I will be heading out on the 29th to help. And Sister Foy, can you just enlighten us a little bit? We'll be putting an email out about this, of course, but just for kind of a mark your calendar thing.
Absolutely. So the Atlanta North Georgia Labor Council is putting together one in many of their series of food drives that will be on Saturday, August the 29th. And we will be partnering, IATSE Local 479 will be partnering with the North Georgia Labor Council. So we are looking for volunteers. But also if you are in need of food, because we know, with the extra $600 going away, that made the difference for a lot of folks in being able to pay bills, being able to put food on the table, being able to just kind of breathe a little bit easier. So we know that the need is out there. I have personally volunteered with various organizations with food banks, and the need is great. So if you are in need of food, please come out. If you would like to help, please reach out to myself or Ray to volunteer. We're working out the logistics. It's pretty simple. We partner with a local food bank. It would be most likely the Atlanta Food Bank, where they would drop off boxes of produce, and we would, all workers would be wearing PPE, gloves, masks, hand sanitizer on hand. We will be loading up the trunks or back seats of cars as they go by, so there's no need to get in close proximity to anyone. So it will be a safe environment, or as safe as we can possibly make it. So if you're interested and or in need, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself or President Brown. Thank you.
Delegate Foy, thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to that. I know Delegate Foy's already been helping out. As a matter of fact, she's proven the ground here. And I want to say thank you to you. It is you have inspired me to help and to get others to help. And I thank you for that. You're an amazing person in that delegate position. And you've frankly worked harder there than I've seen in a very long time. You've brought a whole new breath of fresh air to that. I thank you so much. We do have a piece of business we need to discuss. A little unorthodox here, but we need to discuss our 7th district convention. It has been determined, and we're getting ready to wrap up this meeting. This should be our last major piece of business. But our 7th district convention happens every year. The 7th district. The IA, I believe, is split up into 12 or 13 districts. We are in the 7th district, and once a year we meet. Obviously, usually we get together on a weekend somewhere in one of the areas that are involved in the district. This year, that will not be happening. We will be doing the 7th district convention this year via Zoom, if you will. And that's going to happen virtually on September 17th of this year. Now, we have the ability to invite between 45 and 50 delegates. That number we'll get to you in an email. But we have the opportunity to invite that many folks to attend this virtual District 7 convention. And we're going to open that up to our membership. Under normal circumstances, that would be a nomination and a vote at a meeting. Clearly, we're not going to be able to do that before September 17th. So we've vetted it with legal counsel, Brother Giolito, and he feels that under these special circumstances, we can do it in this fashion. So expect an email to come out shortly in reference to this, and how, if you wish to attend this meeting, how you can become a delegate to the 7th District Convention this year. It will be one day. Normally it's Saturday and Sunday. In this case, it's going to be one day, probably 5 or 6 hours. which will be split up. And if those of you who have been before these conventions, you know, there's some committee work to be done, and then there's some convention work to be done. But President Loeb will in fact be addressing us first, and then we'll go out to convention. If you've never attended, this would be an excellent time for you to do that online virtually. And some of our delegates from the past, this is your opportunity to participate again. And then hopefully by 2021, we're back to the way we normally conduct business. So keep your eye out for an email on the ability to participate in the 7th District Convention virtually this year. Executive Board. I ask again for a quick check on anything I may have neglected to make our members aware of in this meeting. Okay, if there has been something, then I will be sure to get an email out, but I believe we've covered things. So the next time we have a meeting, we will see each other in person in October. Please mark your calendars for our October meeting. And that is, once again, nominations for office. That's October 18th. We will resume normal meeting hours, i.e., the executive board will meet at 10:30 in the morning on October 18th. The general membership meeting will be at 2 p.m. And we will nominate people for the position of president of the local, director of membership of the local, and the 5 board of trustee positions. Okay, very important October meeting. I really would hope that if you are able, healthy and able and willing, that you will show up at this meeting. More information to come. Executive board, it goes without saying, as your president, you humble me, and I'm honored to serve you, and I'm honored to serve this amazing local and the wonderful people that are a part of it. It's really a beautiful thing, and I appreciate it so much. And you humble me with your continued effort and your continued work for our members. I learn from all of you every day. It really is something. I know I won't be able to do it forever, but while I'm doing it, it's such a joy. And you make it that way. Thank you. To our members, in closing, we know you're struggling. We know this has not been easy, even for the most prepared of us. It has not been easy. We've suffered great loss. We've been on membership. It's heartbreaking, really. We've gone through more difficult times in the past. We'll, I'm sure, be presented with difficult things in the future, and we'll continue to do it together. We'll continue to work together and get through and get past these tough times. If you are in need, please make sure you reach out to our Health and Welfare Committee, and we'll guide you in the right direction to get you some assistance. Okay. So if there's no other business, take a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Sister Tonkin, thank you. Seconded.
Second.
Brother Hatcher, Sister Foyt, thank you. Is there any further discussion? There being none, thank you all. I bid you a great day. And please, brothers and sisters, Ken, if you need help, reach out to the local. Thank you all for being here today. I send you blessings, and we'll talk to you all soon. Be well and goodbye.